Let's get cozy on our mats. Just gonna adjust the camera here for a second. So relax on your mat, on your back if that's comfortable. Perfect. So if it's comfortable to be on your back to start tonight's practice, start on your back. If you'd feel more comfortable being on your side to start the practice, feel free to do that as well. And as we begin, just wanted to introduce myself for those who I haven't met before virtually. My name is Renee, so thank you so much for joining and sharing your practice tonight. Tonight is a relax and release class. So we're going to do exactly that right from the get-go. We're going to start by coming to the present moment, starting to settle into our breath, finding that connection between your breath. So again, whatever that comfortable position is to start your practice, let's arrive there. That may be that the legs are out in front of you. The feet even come together. The knees feel like they're up too high and you need a little bit of support, maybe putting some books if you've got them close by, or blocks, or even some rolled up towels or hoodies if you need any props. Whatever helps you just to arrive on your mat. Starting to sink into that breath. And starting to deepen those breaths. Feeling each inhale coming in through the nose. Allowing each exhale to breathe out through the mouth. Allowing yourself to, each inhale, find yourself settling in, even with each exhale, releasing anything that doesn't serve you. And as you arrive on your mat, if you're finding that the mind starts to wander, maybe to still process the day that's just passed, if you find yourself thinking about what's to come after, just give yourself permission to acknowledge that the mind is wandering, and then be kind and see if you can guide that focus back to the present moment, back to this present place on your mat. And as you exhale through the mouth, let's use that to take some body scans. Noticing if the breath feels like it might be getting stuck anywhere. Noticing if the breath feels like it's coming deep from the base of the belly into the spine, into the chest, and really filling up, or maybe the breath might be shallow and just coming to the top portion of the body. And if you feel like you're breathing in just shallow into just the chest, again, give yourself permission to just acknowledge that. And then maybe it's taking one hand to the lower belly and one hand to the chest. Give yourself that sense of security and oneness with the breath. as it connects the body and the breath. If you can deepen those breaths as it does for each exhale. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's bring soles of the feet to the mat, bending the knees, and just letting those knees fall in to each other, allowing the soles of the feet to relax on the mat. And then if the hands aren't already there, let's take one hand to the lower belly, and one hand to the chest. And then bringing those knees up to the chest, giving a nice gentle rock left to right, massaging at the spine. And just bringing that forehead up towards the knees, just coming into a nice tight ball. And then when you're ready, we're going to drop the knees over to the right, using that bottom right arm as a pillow, just coming into that side fetal position. And when you're ready, using that top hand to push into the mat. And we'll come up to seated. And then as we arrive on the mat, stick those hands and place them on the knees, allowing your hands to help ground you a little bit more as well. Let's take those shoulders up to the ears on the inhale. And as we exhale, breathe it out through the mouth, shoulders come down. Let's do that 2 more times, really exaggerating the movements, moving with the breath. Inhale with the shoulders coming up to the ears. And exhale through the mouth, shoulders come down. Last one, shoulders coming up to the ears. Exhaling it out through the mouth on the exhale, nice and deep. Let's take a nice inhale, taking those fingertips up to the sky. Maybe even taking your gaze up to those fingertips. Exhaling, hands come back through heart center. Let's do that again. Nice deep inhale. Fingertips come up to the sky again, maybe even looking all the way up to those fingertips. From the heart center. Again, arms come up. Nice and tall, reaching. Exhaling, hands back to heart center. This time as we reach out to the side and take those fingertips up to the sky, we're going to exhale, but this time we're going to twist over to the right, taking those palms down towards the earth. As we inhale, bringing those hands back up to the sky, twisting through center and all the way over to the left, bringing those palms down on the exhale. Let's come back up through center. Nice deep inhale. Coming through center, twisting over to the right. Exhaling, palms come down. Inhale, nice and tall, again through center, bringing those fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, coming all the way over to the left, palms come down. Inhale, again back through center. And last round, over to the right. Exhale, coming down. These twists are great, detoxifying the organs. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, all the way over to the left. Palms come down. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, hands come back through heart center. Let's take a nice deep inhale as we take that right foot out in front of us. Keeping those breaths flowing nice and deep in through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. So as we've got that left foot on the inside of that right leg that's extended. If that left knee is coming up, it needs a little bit of love. Again, maybe a roll. Roll that hoodie up. And sitting up nice and tall. Keeping a nice long spine. Exhale it out. Let's take those hands again up to the sky. And as we exhale, folding forward towards that outstretched right leg. Inhale, coming back up. Let's try to keep that spine as long as we can. Exhale, again, folding over that outstretched right leg. Inhale, coming up. And this time, exhale, again, all the way down, and let's stay there for a couple of counts. And just letting the shoulders relax. Dropping the head towards that knee. It's okay if the chest and the belly doesn't come all the way out to that outstretched leg. Just enough to find a nice gentle stretch in the back of that right leg. Keeping the breath flowing nice and long. And with each inhale, you might find a little bit of length. And with each exhale, maybe a little bit of depth. Even a little inch or two. Try to keep those right toes pointing up towards the sky. Last night. Next inhale, let's bring those arms all the way back up to the sky. And exhale back through heart center. Your next inhale, we're going to take that left knee. We're going to cross it over that right leg. We're going to take a nice deep inhale with that left arm and bring it back behind us. Your next deep inhale with that right arm, we're going to hook it over that left knee. As we inhale, sit nice and tall. And as you exhale, looking over that left shoulder. So again, a nice gentle twist, inhaling nice. Nice and tall. Keeping both sits bones nice and rooted. Inhale up. Exhale, last time looking over that left shoulder. As we inhale, gently coming through center, counter twist over to the right, tenting those fingertips. Coming back through center, we're going to release that left leg, bringing both feet down to the mat. Taking the soles of the feet down. And then we're going to take those hands behind us and windshield wiper those knees. Again, just moving with the breath. Dropping both knees to one side, then through center, and then to the opposite side. Moving again, nice and slow. The inhales come through center, exhales as they drop over to one side. And as we continue to do this, moving with the breath, try to keep the chest open as best as you can. So you're expanding across the shoulders. Using those arms behind you to keep the spine nice and long from the base of the spine that's rooted on your mat to the crown of the head. It's like practicing that really nice posture. We'll gently wiping those knees left to right. And last time, let's come back through center. And extending the opposite leg. So this time taking that left leg forward and just rooting through the sits bones. And taking your right foot on the inside of that left leg. Taking a nice deep inhale, bring those fingertips up to the sky. And exhale, fold forward. Hands come towards the outstretched left leg. Inhale, again, bringing those hands back up to the sky. Exhale, both hands down on either side of that left leg, keeping those left toes nice and high. Inhale again, bringing those fingertips up to the sky. Exhale this time as we bring those fingertips all the way towards that outstretched leg. Just dropping the head. And again, we don't need to fold all the way down. If you can get there, that's great. If you're still seated up nice and tall, that's great too. Just enough to feel stretch again behind the back of this left side. Wherever you are, just allowing the shoulders and the head to relax. Giving yourself permission here just to feel that stretch wherever you are. The beauty of doing these kind of virtual classes is we don't have to compare ourselves to our neighbors in a yoga class. It's all about your own journey. And each day is different. Each side of the body is different too. And again, nice deep inhales through the nose. And exhale, fold it out through the mouth. Your next inhale, let's take those arms all the way up to the sky again. And this time, exhale, hands back through heart center. We're going to take that right hand, bring that right knee back up, crossing that right foot over the left leg. We're going to keep the left leg extended. We're going to take that right hand lifted up to the sky and exhale that back behind us. Taking that inhale with that left arm, hooking that left elbow on the outside of that right knee. As we inhale, sitting up nice and tall. And as you exhale, looking over that right shoulder. Nice gentle twist, holding that twist here. Inhale, sitting taller, keeping both sits bones rooted. Exhale again, looking over that right shoulder. Last one on this side. Inhale to find a little bit more length. Again, keeping both sits bones rooted. And exhale as you look over that right shoulder. As we inhale, spinning around through center, coming over to that left side, tenting the fingertips, just a gentle counter twist on that left side. Inhaling back through center, taking that the right foot off of the left leg. And we're gonna just swivel the knees around and come into table. So as we come into table, keeping those knees under the hips, planting the hands underneath the shoulders. We're gonna come into some cat and cow postures here. So as you inhale, looking forward towards the top of your mat, opening up across the chest. And as you exhale, curling the back, bringing that chin to your chest. Nice rounded spine like a cat. So moving with your breath as you inhale, look forward, opening up across the chest, maybe even looking towards the sky. And as you exhale, rounding the back, chin to chest. Last one here, inhale, looking forward, dropping the belly, opening up across the chest. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding the back into a cat. Coming back through that neutral table. Let's take the knees to the outer edges of the mat. So depending on how the shoulders are feeling. The arms, yogi's choice here. So you've got the big toes together, the knees on the outer edge of the mat. So if the hips don't come all the way to the feet, that's okay. You may want to prop up the hips or the sits bone with a block. And wherever, if the hips are high, that's fine. With the hands, you can keep the fist stacked under the forehead, or maybe the arms are outstretched in front of you. When we give these options, I know sometimes people have got frozen shoulder or things that are going on, tennis elbow, etc. So if it's too much, again, stack the fists. Some people even take child's pose with the hands beside the body and rest. So lots of different options here. So wherever you are, just wiggle the hips out. See if you can release a little bit of tension here. And coming back to that breath. And just in this place of stillness as well, just checking into how you're feeling. And for those who have the arms outstretched up ahead, let's just walk those fingertips to the top right corner of the mat, feeling a nice stretch from the tips of the fingers. On that left side, all the way down to that sits bone as you draw that left sits bone down towards your mat. And coming back through center with the arms, if they're stretched, over the top left corner of the mat, feeling that nice long stretch. A couple of deep breaths here. And coming back through center with the hands. And whether the hands are stacked or beside the body or outstretched, let's bring those hands back to that neutral table. And adjusting the knees so the knees come underneath the hips. And just taking some barrel rolls. So just allowing yourself to move the body in whatever direction it feels like it needs, just to stretch out a little bit, especially for those who might have been sitting for a good portion of the day. Just allows you to move the spine in whatever direction it feels like it needs to go. It's fun to go in the other direction too. And then as well, moving it around a little bit more, just to show the spine a little bit more love. Let's take that C-shaped curve. So taking your gaze towards that left heel. And then back through center. The barrel rolls feel good and you want to stick with that for a few more breaths. Feel free. Again, this is your practice. I'm just simply helping to guide you through it. Again, whether it's barrel rolls or C-shape, whether you're looking at the left heel, and then through center and then over to the right. Let's do a couple more here. Just to move that spine around. And then we're going to come back through center, neutral table. Right hand, we're going to take 3 deep breaths and flow with the breath before we rest down onto this left shoulder. So let's start with an inhale, coming up with that left arm to the sky. So the knees stay rooted. And as you exhale, we're just going to touch down on that left shoulder, left cheek, just for a second. Keeping the hips high. Coming back on the inhale, nice deep inhale, lifting those left fingertips to the sky. Exhale, touching down on the left cheek, left shoulder blade, keeping the hips high. One more here, reaching nice and high with those left fingertips to the sky. This time as you exhale, coming all the way down on that left shoulder, keeping the hips high. And as we get down here, keeping that, I'm just going to flip around so you can see what I'm doing. As you're resting on that left shoulder, the right hand can be resting on the mat. Maybe we even take that right hand and extend it long to the top of your mat. The other option for that right hand is to put that on the small of the back, or maybe hook that on the inside of that left upper thigh to kind of open that right shoulder up. And stay here for a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. At no point do you want to feel restricted in the breathing, so just make sure you ease up a little bit if you're finding it's tough to breathe. This should be more of just gentle stretches and twists, nothing to do with restricting the breathing. Last deep inhale wherever you are. Exhaling out through the mouth. You've got that right arm in a bind, taking that right arm to the sky, taking that right hand back down to the mat. As we inhale, taking that left arm back up to the sky. Exhale, planting that left hand down. Coming back into that neutral table. Let's take 3 cat and cows here. So inhale, looking forward. Dropping the belly, pushing that tailbone to the back of the mat. Exhale, curling the back, chin to chest. Let's do 2 more here, moving with the breath. Inhale as we look forward. Opening up across the chest, dropping the belly, tailbone to the back of your mat. Exhale, curving the spine like a cat, chin to chest. Last one here, inhaling, opening up the chest. Looking forward, dropping the belly. Exhale, rounding the back, chin to chest. And then coming back in the next inhale to center. Planting that left palm this time. We're going to take a nice deep inhale. So we reach that right arm to the sky, nice and high. Exhale, coming through, touching down on that right shoulder, right cheek. Inhaling back up with that right arm to the sky. Exhale, threading that arm through, touching down with that right shoulder, right cheek. Last one here as we inhale, reaching up nice and tall with that right hand to the sky. On the exhale, coming all the way down onto that right shoulder, right side of the forehead. And again, here, as we rest down, I'm just going to switch myself around. You're resting on that right side. The left hand can stay flat on the mat. We're going to keep the hips high. And you're resting just on the side of the head on that right side. So that left hand can stay where it is on the mat. The right hand is underneath you, palms facing up. So options here, maybe that left hand and that left arm comes extended, feeling a stretch. Outstretch to the mat. Maybe that left hand comes down to the small of the back, or maybe hooking on to the inside of that right thigh. Giving yourself a couple of options here. Wherever you are, again, remember the breath should still flow nice and deep, both in the inhales and the exhales. Maybe even closing down the eyes. And just noticing how the breath is feeling and the body's feeling. One more deep inhale here through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Your next inhale will reach that left arm up if it's not already on the mat and bring it down to the mat. Pushing into that left hand. We're going to reach that right arm up to the sky again. And exhale that right arm down to the mat. Coming back to that neutral table position again. Take 3 cat and cows here. Inhaling as we look up. Exhale, round the back, chin to chest. 2 more here. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, rounding the back, chin to chest. 1 more here. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, rounding the back, chin to chest. Coming back through neutral table. And swing the legs around. We're going to come all the way, 1 vertebrae at a time, and round all the way down onto our backs. And when we get back onto our back, keeping the knees bent, planting those feet flat onto the mat. And just checking into the spine here. Let's take 1 hand on the lower belly, 1 hand on the chest. Just finding that connection between the breath and the body here in this place of stillness. And just reconnecting, feeling yourself nice and long from the tip of the head to the crown. So the crown of the head down to the base of the spine. Allowing the shoulders to come away from the ears. And relaxing deeper into your mat. Let's bring those knees into the chest. And keeping the head on the mat, just gently rocking the knees left to right, just massaging up that spine. And then let's come into happy baby. So happy baby, maybe if you can get as far as reaching onto the outsides of the feet. That's too much of a stretch and you're finding that you're curved under, crunched over. Just relaxing the head, maybe it's easing up and just holding onto the pant legs or the calves or the ankles. But wherever you are in your version of happy baby, just hold on to, like I said, the pant legs, the ankles, the calves, outsides of the feet. And maybe you're happy baby, you're here in stillness. Or maybe you take that into an extension of a gentle rock, left to right. Or maybe even playing with that happy baby a little bit and extending one leg at a time up to the sky, just to feel different sensations, and then maybe the other. Almost like a baby would do, right? It's just being playful and taking movements that we don't normally make in our day. Maybe we haven't made some of these movements through the week. You're feeling different sensations with a different kind of stretch. And then coming back through center. Hug those knees into the chest again. And then let's extend those legs up to the sky into waterfall. So, so great. To bring all the energy and all the blood flow back to your heart, back to your core. You're maybe pointed or even rotating the ankles. Now with the arms, you can leave those on the belly, by your sides, or even take the fingertips and point the fingertips up towards the feet as well. And bringing again all of that energy, wiggling the fingers around, maybe even rotating the wrists one direction and then the other. And it doesn't have to be movement. It can be just simply being here in stillness with the legs up, the fingertips up. Maybe even if you've got a wall close by or the side of a couch or a bed, just resting the legs up so they're elevated above the heart. We'll just stay here for 3 more deep, deep breaths. Just noticing all the blood rushing back. And again, remember those inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth. Last one, inhaling deep. And exhale through the mouth. Bending those knees, let's bring those feet back to the mat, keeping the knees bent. Just adjusting the hips, the spine if you need to. And feeling that spine laying out. We'll get set up for figure 4 stretch here. So I'm going to take that right foot and cross it over that left knee, keeping both feet flexed as we go through this exercise. So with figure 4 on this side, maybe this is where you go. Maybe this is where you stay for this side and simply use that right hand to push into that right knee. Just to open it up and then stay here in stillness, or maybe a gentle rock to the left or to the right. You want to try something a little bit deeper, lifting that left just foot on that left knee, feeling a sensation on the back of that right hip. So now you've got that right foot flexed over the left knee. Stretch even juicier and use that right elbow pushed into that right knee, or that right hand for that matter. And again, here this can be in stillness. Maybe a gentle rock left to right. Wherever you are in this figure four on the side, allow your shoulders not be hunched. See if you can find some softness. Even closing down the eyes to just simply be in this place and feel the stretch on that right hip. Couple more deep breaths on this side, in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's release the back of that left knee if you've got that. Taking that left foot down to the mat, keeping the left knee bent. Let's release those arms as well. Take that right knee, cross it all the way over the left knee. Now you've got both knees bent. Left foot is still planted on the mat. Right knee's crossed over the left. We're going to take keep the left foot down. We're going to shift the weight of the hips over to the right, just by a couple inches. And with those knees bent, we're going to bring them towards the chest and then drop the knees over to the left. So as they drop over, putting that right foot, sole of the foot on the mat. Now with the arms, we're going to take the arms and either out to the sides. Something I like to do even more is grab a hold of the top corners of your mat. And as you grab a hold of the top corners of your mat, it allows you to bring those shoulders closer to the mat. And with those knees dropping to the left, let's take your head and drop that over to the right. Inhaling nice and deep again, still through the nose. And exhale it through the mouth. Use the mat, maybe ease up a little bit on those knees. They don't have to come all the way down to the ground. You can ease up a little bit. See if you can keep those shoulders rooted as best as possible to the mat. You've got just a nice gentle twist, toxifying the organs and wringing out everything with even these gentle, gentle stretches here. Couple more nice deep breaths in here through the nose. Wringing out the organs with this twist out through the mouth. Last nice deep breath in. And as you exhale it out, let's release the hands. Guide those knees back through center. Adjust the hips. We'll uncross that right knee. And plant both feet on the mat, keeping the knees bent just to allow yourself to bring that spine back to a neutral center position. Keeping those hands on the belly. Just feeling the rise and fall of the belly with each and every breath. As we get set up for the other side, planting the right foot this time. Foot sole is nice and rooted on the mat. Cross that left foot over the right knee, keeping that left foot flexed. This side may be the same as the other, or maybe a little bit different here. So on this side, maybe that right foot stays planted. Maybe you simply use that left hand to push into that left knee. Or maybe you want to grab a hold of the back of that right knee. And either with the left hand or the left elbow, just pushing into that left knee to open up. Feel a stretch on that left hip. Relaxing that bottom of that right leg, just letting the right leg relax. Again, making sure the shoulders aren't rounded. See if you can find some softness. keeping the head on the mat. And then maybe this is where you stay in stillness. Or maybe it's a gentle rock. See if you feel a different sensation if you rock to the right versus a rock to the left. Feel a little bit more if I rock to the right and feel a bit more of a stretch on that left hip. So again, just playing with it a little bit. When you find that place that gives you that juicy stretch, you just stay there and take a couple more deep breaths. Again, breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth when you find that place that feels really, really good. Last nice deep inhale wherever you are. And then exhale it out. Coming back through center if you're not already there. I'm going to drop that right foot all the way down to the mat, keeping that right knee bent. I'm going to take that left knee and cross it all the way over the right knee. I'm going to shift the weight of the hips over to the left by a couple of inches. Bring those bent crossed knees up to the chest. And then dropping those cross bent knees over to the right. And taking the sole of that left foot so it plants down onto the mat. Taking the arms either extended all the way out to the sides with the palms facing down, or maybe even gripping a hold of the top corners of the mat so your arms are like in a cactus style. So as your knees drop over to the right, take your head and just turn that over to the left. Really allows you to extend into this twist. Again, bringing up the organs, detoxifying things with each and every breath. Exhaling it out through the mouth. Let's take 2 more nice deep breaths here. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling it out through the mouth. Last nice deep inhale here. And exhale it out. Bring the head back through center. Bring those knees back through center as well. And crossing the knees, releasing the arms. And as you shift the weight of the hips back through center, keeping those feet flat, the knees bent, fine. Let's bring those knees into the chest again. Gentle hug. Just bringing that forehead up towards the knees as well, coming into a nice ball. And just rocking left to right. And releasing the legs nice and long to the mat, stretching those arms. And feeling a nice deep stretch from the tips of the fingers as they reach all the way to the back of the mat, behind your head, pointing the toes, and then flexing the feet. And pointing the toes again, clutching the fists, tightening everything, and then releasing. Perfect. Let's bend those knees again, bring the soles of the feet back down to the mat. And then bring the soles of the feet together. And let the knees open. We're going to take those arms and just extend those nice and long above our head, allowing them just to relax. If that's too much on the shoulders, maybe taking one hand to the chest, one hand to the belly. Again, just allowing those knees to release. Just coming back to our breath. Nice and relaxed. And release. Let's bring those hands to the outer edges of the knees. Gently guiding those knees back through center. Keeping the knees bent, feet flat on the mat. And just reach down, see if you can touch the backs of the heels. And then we're going to take 3 flowing bridge postures. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the hips and lift the arms at the same time. So the arms are going to come up above the head, the hips are coming up. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering 1 vertebrae at a time, the hips back down to the mat, the arms come through center, so to the sky, keep it in one place, or even closing down the eyes. Just do that 2 more times, moving with the breath. So as we inhale, hips are going to come up 1 vertebrae at a time. Hips come up to the sky, arms come above you. And on the exhale, slowly lowering down. Arms come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Hips come down as well. Just nice, slow, gentle movements. Last one, inhale 1 vertebrae at a time as we peel the hips up to the sky. And then exhale, coming down, again, releasing 1 vertebrae at a time all the way down. Hands coming down last. Last one, we're going to come up to a full extension of bridge. So if you've got a block or something up to the sky, the hands can stay flat with the palms facing down beside you. Otherwise, if you'd like to take a different expression with the hands, maybe clasping the hands underneath you, walking those shoulder blades, the shoulders underneath you as well. Almost like you're hugging a pencil between the shoulder blades underneath you. Try to keep those knees to come in through center. You don't want the knees splayed out to the sides. Keeping those toes pointed forward. And again, nice, gentle, but deep stretch along the fronts of the body, fronts of the thighs, that nice juicy psoas muscle that wraps around the fronts of the thighs all the way to the back. One more nice deep inhale here through the nose. Exhale all the way out, releasing the clasp of the hands. Maybe even coming up to the toes as you slowly lower 1 vertebrae at a time. Those hands are beside the body, palms are flat. And then coming back through center, allowing the spine to stabilize here for a moment, keeping those feet flat, the knees bent. Wonderful. And then if there's anything else the body feels like it needs to do before we come into our final resting Shavasana to close out our practice, feel free to honor those desires, whatever the body feels like it needs to do before we close out our practice together. Otherwise, we're going to come into most juicy asana or posture, which is Shavasana. And so that can be different. Maybe it's laying on your back, putting some cozy socks or a hoodie on, maybe dimming the lights, using up all the space on your mat. Maybe your Shavasana happens on your side or your belly, or maybe even legs up the wall, like so. The hips a little bit, a foot or 2 away from the wall. Anything to bring your energy or your blood flow back to your heart. Again, lots of different options as we finish up for Shavasana. So however you'd like to finish up your practice tonight, feel free to do that. Again, this is your practice, so honor yourself with what the body feels like it needs. And when you arrive, just closing down the eyes, and settling back into your breath. Bring that breath in through the nose. Exhaling it out through the mouth. Expectations on how you need to feel. And just simply being in the moment. Just allowing yourself to feel heavy on your mat, feel completely supported. So often we feel like we need to be on the go and have a movement practice. Be physically active all the time. And in actuality, being busy all the time can take away from that stillness practice the importance of allowing ourselves to listen to the body. Bodies are always talking to us. We need to give ourselves permission in times like this of stillness to truly listen to the body when it's whispering to us. Tune in to what the body needs and wants versus waiting until the body is yelling at us or acting out in different ways. And with that, enjoy the peace and stillness. Enjoy Shavasana. What do you got? And slowly start to find some movement into those fingers and toes. If you're on your back or your side, the legs at the wall, feel free to stay there. If you've already crawled in to a cozy place on the couch or the bed to finish your practice, that's fine too. Maybe you're on a different time zone and you're just starting your day. What a sweet, relaxing place you are, whether it's night or day. I welcome you, if you'd like to finish your practice and join me back onto the mat in a seated place, whatever that seated place looks like. Feel free to join me here if you'd like. And again, completely up to you. This is your practice. It's simply your guide for tonight. And let's bring those hands to heart center. Rubbing those hands together, creating some heat, some energy. And then just gently cupping the hands over the eyes. Just noticing what you see in this place of darkness and stillness. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just simply observing. Maybe you see and feel a sense of calm and darkness. Maybe you see color or a pulsing color. I'm being curious as to how you're feeling and what you're seeing in this very present moment. I'm just tuning in. And then removing those hands, let's bring them back. Rubbing the palms together again, creating some heat and some friction. Let's bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest. Let's close down the eyes, just bringing that chin to chest. Let's feel that physical connection between the breath and the body. Let's bring that breath into the belly for a count of 1, 2, and 3. Exhale it out through the mouth for a count of 3. Breath into the belly for a count of 1, 2, of 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring that into the belly for a count of 1, 2, 3. Keep it going into the chest for 4, 5, 6. And then exhaling it out through the mouth for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do that 2 more times, pairing the belly and the chest. Inhaling it in for 1, 2, 3, expanding into the chest, front of the chest, 4, 5, expanding through the ribs, 6, back body. Exhaling it all out for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do that one more time together, in through the belly for a count of 1, 2, into the chest for 4, 5, expanding through the ribs, front body, back body, 6. Exhaling it all out together for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a nice deep inhale with the arms coming all the way up, reaching those fingertips to the sky. Exhaling those hands back through heart center. Let's take those thumbs to the head, the mind to the heart. Thank you so much for sharing your energy and your practice tonight. Have a great sleep ahead. Namaste.